Well, engines are fired in Mini Swift, and another huge field heads out onto the circuit for the 6th of 9 races, led by the number 148 of Parker Ives. Alongside him on the front row of the grid, the reigning SKUSA Pro Series champion Ashton Woon, Benja Fernandez and Josh Bergman go from row number 2. Lorenzo Varela and last year's Micro Swift champion Maxwell Matcha on the outside of row number 3. But Mike Smith, as you look at the rest of the top 10 there, the winners just keep coming. The potential winners go all the way down this first screen.
No, exactly that. We've got one heck of a grid here for Mini. Troy Ferguson rolling off in the 7th spot. Marco Samut in 8th. Braden Wagner 9th. And to round out your top 10, Valentino Santilli.
Remember, guys, we have never had a two-time winner in this category either. Royce Vega, who won last year, down in 18th position. It'd be a lot of work to get done for Royce to try to get that back-to-back win.
But if you remember last year in Mini Swift, it was one of the best races of SuperNats 26. Braden Wagner for Team Santilli on John McClellan. There's Colton Schniegenberg, Alex Chandler, Mika Baruch on the 7th row of the grid. Brandon Eng, Nico Katowski, Jeremy Sincere, all starting in front of Vega with Liam Natchawati and Australia's Jay Kostecki next in line. Again, another 40-plus starting grid as we look back. William Vita there in 26th and Enzo Di Janeiro, Jackson Porter. They were Team USA's 3 representatives in the Rotax Grand Finals in Sano this year. Vita, Di Janeiro and Porter all starting together on the in the middle of the field.
This is going to be a good one for sure. Of course, we saw the battle early on in Micro that put on a fantastic battle for it. Let's see if we get the same as well here. I would love to see it. 4 more races to go. Mini Swift, X30 Junior, and then Pro X30 and Pro Shifter to cap off the 27th running of this year's SuperNationals.
Olivier Chassé is out there. He didn't race yesterday. He had a tumble earlier on, but he did go back out this morning in warm-up, so I'm assuming he is out today.
Again, here we go. Big week for Mini Swift. These drivers have dug in. We know that Parker Ives and Ashton Woon have been in the middle of the fight the whole time. Parker Ives is going to lead him here. They're going to come down, waiting to get into the lanes. Do we get a green flag? We do. We are racing. It's a quick run down into turn number 1. How much room do they give each other? Pretty good so far coming through. Hoping everybody clean and green to the opening corners. We'll go 3 wide coming down into turn number 4. Parker Ives is going to take that lead. Ashton Woon more than happy to tuck back into second. First 4 drivers looking good. The rest coming through 2, potentially 3 wide through turn number 5. Let's see if Woon goes quickly on the offense to try to get a past Ives, or does he settle in? They got to go single file sooner or later here, and there they are coming out of turn number 9 and 10 through the quick turn 11 into the back part of the racetrack, guys. There's a move to the inside already. Woon, I wondered if he'd go early. He does. He'll bring Benja Fernandez with him. Shaking and baking, Woon goes to the lead.
And Fernandez slots back in just around the outside of Woon. Woon gives him just enough room to hit the apex there of turn number 14. It was as we crossed the line and a whole freight train of Mini Swift karts head down towards turn number 1. But Woon and Fernandez, they're trying to break clear.
It did look like there might have been a little bit of contact on the outside of the wall there from turn 16. But I got to tell you, I was a little surprised at how calm and collected it was there at the beginning. And then Ashton Woon had a surprise attack. But how about Ives back to 6th?
He's only back to 6th position. Did not go well for Ives getting hung out to dry on the outside. He'll have to put his head down, get that focus back, and work his way methodically forward. Because right now, Woon and Benja Fernandez are up front and looking very good. Lining up together. Can they pull away? We've seen it happen in a couple of categories, but again, this is a class that really lines up a lot when you get things going draft-wise, Henry. It's tougher to pull away, especially if you start battling each other.
Yeah, and looking at the driver currently in 3rd position, Josh Bergman. He's been the driver that's been getting better and better as the races went on later in the race. He was the master of laps 9 and 10. Now he's got 20 and he's already up to 3rd.
All right, we're settling in here for the first couple of laps. Again, a long 20-lapper here now. Ives right there. Behind Ives is, I believe, Marco Samet in the number 175. There's another driver further back here we're watching again. That's the 111 of Antino Santian. So we're kind of picking and choosing some drivers throughout the field here for you. Everybody's settling in, as we know. Now we're kind of, it's the opening laps. Mike, get a couple laps in. Okay, this is where I slotted out. I got aggressive a little bit early. Finally, we're into single file. I got a guy in front of me. I know who's around me right now. Let me see what I got. Let me see what we can do here. Do I need to pass, or can this guy in front of me help me get to the front?
Well, the answer a little bit further back was pass, indeed. And I couldn't quite tell was that we have the back shot going into that corner with the sun kind of in its face. So it's a little bit tough to tell what the numbers are as they go in there. But up front, I can tell you it's Fernandez with Woon in tow. Bergman a little bit by themselves. And then you do have Ferguson and Macha all linked up there too. Easier to see now. Bergman bridging the gap.
Yeah.
He's trying to get a little bit closer.
That's the key right now. Josh Bergman's doing pretty well by himself. Troy Ferguson behind him actually went purple last time by. But Bergman really coming out of the gate here now strongly to try to reel in that front-running duo. They have not been able to pull away. Fernandez and Woon. Bergman ready to put that TKG Kart Republic right on the rear bumper of Ashton Woon.
Parker Ives has made some moves right there, guys, because it looks like Ives, if my eyes aren't deceiving me, has moved up back to 6th and starting to set sail now to try to catch back up to would be Macha and Ferguson.
Yeah, he's gone past Lorenzo Varela, and Marco Summit has also gone with him as well. Ives, all things point towards pressures being off at the start, and he's going for the long game, is Parker Ives. He doesn't want to let too many drivers get in front of him, and he doesn't want to let that gap between the top 5 and him in 6th get too much bigger. Because if these drivers that we're watching now, the front 5, if they decide, okay, we're all going to play the long game and just sit in single file, it becomes harder for Ives to drag himself and the chasing pack up.
Ives needs to drop a couple of purple laps here. I'm by myself, drop a couple of purple laps, get close enough that I can finally sniff on that draft at the end from Maxwell Mach or whoever may be at the tail of that group. He wants him to battle a little bit, a little wide right there. You saw that, right?
Bergman almost got into the wall.
He did. He might even just tickled it a little bit coming out of that corner. But nonetheless, you look at Ives, looks over his shoulder, got some room to work with. And he can try to dig in here now from P6. Last time by Ferguson again, guys. Back-to-back fast laps for Troy Ferguson in the 103.
And Ferguson now makes the move to the inside, bringing Maxwell Matcher with him. So Bergman maybe just a little tiny bit unsettled, but like you said, he just gave a little peck on the cheek, just a kiss, But be careful, because those walls, they don't kiss, they bite. And Ives, you said earlier, a couple of purple laps. Well, he didn't go purple on that last lap, did Ives, but he is closing in, and he's gapping himself to Samut Varela, Santillan, and Braden Wagner, who round out the top 10.
That's draft room now. He's got to the point where he's going to be able to leverage the driver in front of him coming across the line. Hey, guess who went purple, Mike? Yeah, Parker Ives.
Weird. Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were expecting to have. And the other thing, too, is you see more moves happening in that group just behind. That's Samut actually going a couple of spots back. Now, inside move, that is the number 1 of Woon getting it done. New leader here, and with the group all attached to him. It was Fernandez and Woon with a little bit of a gap to Ferguson and Macha. Now it is a full group all at the front.
Yeah, big run-in right now for these guys up front who are putting it all together. Ives, though, has already got, I believe, his first spot. Yeah, Ives up into P5 right now. Here comes the methodical run back forward to the driver who started on the pole, got shuffled around on the opening lap, but has kept his head, right? Easier to do when you're a junior, maybe a senior driver, but when you're this young, this is what you love to see in a young driver. Keep your head about you. Stay focused. You know the job at hand. You know what we've got. You know the car's fast. Just keep working your way forward and make the right decisions on the way back to the front.
Yeah, because we've got a lead group of 6 now, then a gap of 0.8 of a second back to a chasing group of 5. Then there's another gap back to the third sort of group of drivers, And in that group, just making their way to the front of that third group, is Royce Vega. But it's not over yet as Ferguson moves into second. This is all the hallmarks, guys, as we run lap 8 of 20, of turning into a huge freight train at the front.
And we're not even to the halfway point. That's the wild thing about this thing right now. These drivers are all, kind of working their way back forward. A lot of them being real relaxed. Not a lot of moves going on here. We saw Woon make some passes. Here's a move for Josh Bergman. Hey, listen, he's ready to go. He gets back by Ives again. And you're right, that next group in behind, the other, 5 drivers, so excited about this. Varela, Santian, Wagner, Samet, Chandler. These drivers are just loving what's going on. We could have, as Henry said, Mike, an 11-cart battle up front.
Indeed, Fernandez now going to the inside, and Ferguson wants to take it right back. It's going to have Macha coming through as well. Macha now side by side with Ferguson as they head down to turn number 7. But now on the inside, Ferguson's going to have a push mate. That's going to be, I want to say, Bergman going through. Bergman's going to go up there. Ives the one stuck out, the only one not able to follow through. So Ferguson makes the move. Ferguson immediately back, but then holding on for third. So moves, counter moves, trying to follow through. Hey, if the person in front of you is making the hole, you got to try to go with it.
And now we've got, to all intents and purposes, there's now a lead group of 11. And the first driver out of the lead group, but making progress, defending champion Royce Vega, he's up to P12, and he's only 4 seconds off the lead. 2.2 seconds off 11th, 4.4 seconds off the lead.
It really always kind of boggles my mind a little bit. I have so much respect. And you think about the fact, this type of racing, this is 100% focus. These drivers aren't just chilling around banging out laps. This is 20 straight laps of nothing but focus, nothing but strategy, figuring out where I need to be. Every time you're making a pass, every time you're feeling the cart, what it can do, you look at the drivers around you. Mike, there's so much strategy that goes on, but everything's always changing because you never know which driver's up front. Who am I chasing right now? Oh, that guy just passed the guy? Okay, who's the next guy? I got to figure out how he races. There's just so much strategy involved and knowing your competition as well.
And seeing who the comers and goers are. And the one person who's been trying to move up is there's a move on Ives. And I'll tell you right now, Ives is having a heck of a time. Yeah. As soon as there's 1 step or 2 steps up, there's 3 steps back. And you can see there's a little bit of a hand movement going on further back about the frustration, I think, going on right there for Ives. But up front, Woon and Fernandez, which is kind of what they were there for a while, linked back up and now are kind of chilling. The 2 right behind him, though, are the ones that I'm keeping an eye on, and that is Ferguson and Bergman. Those 2 drivers have made things happen to get there. Macha's another one of those drivers who's actually made sure that they followed through and made quick decisions to capitalize.
Yeah, they've been racy, both Bergman and, as you said, Ferguson have been racing. We've seen purple laps out of Ferguson. But this Woon Fernandez team up front is working very well for them right now. Will they be able to pull away? That still remains to be seen. But they're working together as much as they can. They have a decent little gap. It was about a half a second last time by. As long as the guys in the back don't get too racy, if Bergman trusts Ferguson to take him forward, this may be okay. Here's the draft again down the straightaway. The leaders not quite as close together, Mike, as they were last time by.
Right, and you can keep an eye on P3 Ferguson. The way his car goes through the corner versus the way Bergman's goes through, there's a little bit more slip angle for Ferguson. He's able to kind of back it in a little bit, while versely Bergman's kind of going in there early, and the 2 are linking up really well. More fighting going on behind him.
And Henry Maxwell Macha just cut up to the tail of that chase group. It's 3 drivers right now, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They could all 3 push together to get closer.
Yeah, and I honestly think that Bergman's experience racing for Team USA in the FIA Motorsport Games is showing here, because he recognized the 2 leaders, Woon and Fernandez, working together. He saw the gap starting to grow. He may think he's quicker than Troy Ferguson, but he thinks, I'm not that much quicker, and if I try and pass him, I'm going to get into a battle. So he is sat behind, and there is Parker Ives losing another spot, and that is going down behind Braden Wagner for the GFC team. So really, I've got to say, very impressive from Josh Bergman, using his head, and the gap is, well, it's still 0.4 of a second between the top 2. But if Bergman wasn't playing the game, the 2 leaders would have gone by now. But he has a look. But no, he's still got to push, and Macha there in 5th position. Looking back there with Liam Nachawati now 12th. So the gap between the top 11 and 12 is about 2.5 seconds still.
Nobody helping Parker Ives at all. Every time someone gets up to him, he gets freight trained, he gets moved inside. He started P1, he's been moved all the way back, I believe, into the 10th position right now. has not had the help of the drivers at all. Digging in now, looking at Bergman. He's now made his move. Bergman's now gone to P3. Didn't like at least enough of what Ferguson was doing, so Bergman now goes to third. He'll have a look over his shoulder. Let's see if Ferguson helps him. They need to find some pace for sure because the leaders, Woon and Fernandez, slowly stretching away. Remember when I said that gap was about 0.4 of a second? It's almost 0.8 now. Benja Fernandez just turned his fast lap of the race. He goes right on the rear bumper of Ashton Woon, and they are now out comfortably. It is Woon and Fernandez, 0.8 of a second. Let's see if Fernandez can stay as the wingman. Woon seems to be the driver out front, Mike, though, that has the pace to be able to allow them to stretch away.
Yeah, and this is the crucial moment for the three chasing drivers because so far Bergman and Ferguson have both wanted to be the leaders. It's Macha who kind of hung out there and stayed with them. So let's see what happens. You got Bergman who insisted on being the leader because he felt like he's got a little bit more and it was a little bit of a back and forth. If that works, we're going to find out for the first time as they come across the line. Visually, it looks like it's worked. Let's see what we get when we get data on the time.
Josh Bergman, I mean, I'm sure you've been noticing this, Mike. Bergman's line coming out of turn number 15 is consistently wider than everybody else's. He gets closer to the barrier than everybody else, and you just hope he doesn't get too close.
That's that slightly earlier turn and I was talking about where his back end isn't rotating quite as much as someone like Ferguson is. He's turning a little bit earlier, rails it, and kind of carries it out. So difference of opinion on how you get through it. But as we can see by the charts, they did gain that time by over 0.2. It's still working.
I'd say this last time we kind of checked in on the lap count. It was lap 7. We said there's lots of time still to go. We're going to put lap 15 in the books this next time. It's kind of go time to a certain extent, especially when the gap is now only a half a second. Bergman now leading that second group. Look how much closer he is now. It was 0.8 of a second. Bergman's coming. We'll see if Ferguson and Macha have the pace to stay with Josh Bergman. But right now, Woon and Fernandez, who looked like they had a very comfortable lead, that is shrinking away. A half a second this last time by. Fernandez continues to push. When will he decide to make a move if he doesn't like what he sees behind him?
Well, and if he does it earlier than Bergman showing up, then it's going to be a solo effort. If he waits a little bit longer, it's going to be a TKG Trinity duo. They're going to be right up there for second and third.
I think, I mean, just from a driver's perspective, I would want to make my move, and there's Macha making a move on Ferguson. I would want to make my move before Bergman gets to me, because when Bergman gets to me and I'm Fernandez, I'm the meat in the sandwich. I've got to think about defense as well as offense. At the moment, Fernandez, all he can do is attack because there's no threat from behind. He can move off the line to try and set Woon up for a move. Whereas if Bergman catch him, the minute he moves offline, Bergman's through and he's into second and Fernandez is down to third.
That's definitely a scenario that could play out. Obviously, Benja Fernandez is sticking with him right now. He's not trying to make a move yet. And again, that's just the patience we're seeing here, pushing Woon away. It's now down to less than 4/10 of a second this time as Bergman, again, 0.2 of a second quicker. You see how close that Kart Republic is getting. Further back, groups of 4 running with each other. That's Marco Salmon, Alex Chandler, Parker Ives, and Liam Nakawati. Nakawati up 7. Parker Ives, though, went in the other direction first. The pulse hitter all the way back to P10. Not working for Parker Ives right now.
Bergman's there. Bergman has caught the leaders. So now that opportunity that Fernandez may have had, he's got to be a little bit more careful about where he makes his move on Woon now, because that is exactly what I thought might happen. Bergman wasting no time. We're in the late stages. This is where Josh Bergman has been shining all week.
Yeah, we talked all about what could happen. Everything's changing. Bergman's going to go to the lead to the inside of turn number 1. Book it. He is through. Josh Bergman has gone to P1. He's got Benja Fernandez right with him, and Benja said, go. Let's go. Don't worry about me right now. We got a couple of laps. The 2 teammates for TKG up front here. Kart Republic already has got a big win in the KA category, as we know, with Joe Turney. This is the fight right now. Do they get another one here, potentially with Bergman or potentially with Fernandez? Ashton Wood having to press the reset button. Okay, I led for a bunch of laps there. Laps are winding down. Look at Benja Fernandez go. And here comes Woon as well. That's not going to work. He looks over his shoulder to tuck back in. Slow driver coming out of 16. Wow, we're going to get the 2 to go sign when they come around, guys. 2 to go. Bergman is your leader.
And don't count out Maxwell Macha either. Suddenly we got 5. Make that maybe 6 and 7 because Santiago and Varela are closing it as well.
As you start to low line, you bring everybody back into the fight. We said that the minute we did the track walk on Tuesday night. This is going to be a track where if you low line, everybody else is going to come back into the fight. Welcome back, Macha, Ferguson. Santian's going to come in here as well. This is going to be right now a 5-driver battle. There's Santian right there as well on the 111.
Oh.
Hold your breath, guys. Yeah. This is going to get good.
Side by side, it's going to be tough through there. Just a kiss of the barrier, 164 Varela. Holy shnikes, that was close. Here we go with your leaders. That's TKG. Little bit of love right there. Side by side now for the next corner. Look for Wound, not able to capitalize, but maybe the final corner. Here we go. Wide out. Get the run, and it's going to be all to play for with 1 to go.
You work all year long. You go to work to see what you can do. You teach your young drivers the racecraft. This is it. This is why you want to be up front. How's it going to happen? Here comes a move to the inside. Big pass to the bottom. Big run around the outside. That's now the 121 of Benja Fernandez into the lead. Wound got himself back into second with a move to the bottom. Bergman now goes back into third. Right behind them is Ferguson, Santillan, and Varela. Out front, though, Benja Fernandez made a good run to get the spot done. He's going to make a big wide berth into the inner loop here. Lots of room for Benja Fernandez. What a great lap he's putting in right now. Quick look over the shoulder. Not much breathing room, but indeed got enough to go clean through 12 and 13. Look at Wound making the move to the inside. That's a strong move for Wound. He'll come through as well. Bergman's going to go back to P3. He's got work to do because Ferguson's coming out. Contact there into the barriers. A bunch of drivers in contact. This is going to shake up the top 5, but guess who's going to come home with a win? What a drive for Benja Fernandez. Benja Fernandez handled it, and he wins in Mini Swift. Ashton Wound in second. It ends up being, guys, Santillan in third spot, fourth Macha, fifth Samet, Troy Ferguson, and Josh Bergman rolled the dice on the final lap. Contact coming into turn number 15 as he was trying to run the outside. But that's a driver with a smile when it's all said and done.
And Lorenzo Varela was the third driver that went off, spinning off in sympathy. But here we go. There's Benja Fernandez. He's got Snoopy on one side. He's got Snoopy doing a dab on one side. Oh, you've just got to love that, haven't you? And even Parker Ives, how devastated must that young man be? And yet he's got the minerals, he's got the personality and the spirit about him to come and congratulate the race winner.
Mike, I'll head out of here soon to get down to obviously Victory Lane, but Benja Fernandez, how well did he play that race? He was the wingman for Ashton Moon for the longest time, and of course they came fighting, but he was able to get himself in the right spot. What a beautiful pass that was to take over the lead and eventually the win over the final course of the lap.
Exactly. We had Bergman catch him right there at the end and immediately go for the fight, and then it was right back and forth. Fernandez didn't just rest on his laurels, went fighting back immediately, and yeah, exactly like you said, Rob. And as he starts heading down for the podium, Henry, it's one of those things where if you're going to just play the wingman, you got to wait and play it at the right time to switch over to the attack mode. It couldn't have gotten any better.
No, it couldn't have, and he timed it perfectly. There's Peter Matcher. There's Maxwell Matcher's dad giving the winner out. There's the SLA Kart in him. Oh, you've dropped a driver. You can't drop the winner. Oh, my word. Hopefully he's okay. Lucky his rib protector works. But there's your unofficial race result. Benja Fernandez and Ashton Moon. So it's SLA Karting. Valentino Santillan comes through to finish third for Parolin. Maxwell Matcher takes fourth. And in amongst all that, what a drive onto the podium for the Brandon Jarza crack Mike Doty Racing entry of Marco Samu. Braden Wagner, Parker Ives 7th. Liam Nachawati, Alex Chandler, and the defending champion Royce Vega comes home in 10th place. 3 seconds, covers the top 10. Jeremy Sincere, 11th. Lorenzo Varela, he was the driver that spun, trying to avoid Ferguson and Bergman on 2 corners from home. He comes home in 12th. John McClellan, Brandon Eng, and then Mika Baruch in 15th position. We have to look all the way back to 28th and 29th for Troy Ferguson and Josh Bergman. A year ago, Bergman left it late to get onto the podium, and him and his family experienced the highs of SuperNats. This year, he was within sight of a podium and it went away. They experience the lows of Supernats, but such is karting. And as you look at the remaining finishers, let's go and take a quick commercial break. Yet another breathtaking Supernats final. 6 down, 3 to go. But we will obviously speak to the winners' interview very soon. And I think Alex Searle is ready with our Mini Swift winner.
Thank you, Henry. Benja Fernandez, you just won the SuperNationals, bud. How does this feel?
Really good. Like, out of words.
Last lap, round the outside. Walk me through that move.
I was working all weekend in turn 3, so I thought, it'll be the same thing. So I just sent it and prayed it would work.
You're a SuperNationals winner today. Are you going to school tomorrow?
Well, hopefully not. Let's put it that way.
Lastly here, buddy, who do you want to thank for this win?
I want to thank my dad. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I want to thank my mom. Definitely my whole family. I know my grandparents have been helping me the whole time. They've been watching. I want to thank Eric Jones. And I especially want to thank SLA Karting with the great setup and for the great help this weekend, and KR.
That's 2 wins for Miami so far today. Congratulations, Benja.
Thank you.
Back to you, boys.
Remember to say happy birthday to his dad as well. Good lad. But of course, what does every driver want? They've just won Supernats. Dad, does that mean I can have the day off school on Monday? Good try, Benja. Good try. The sun is getting a little bit lower in the sky here at Las Vegas, but still not a cloud, Mike Smith. It has been the perfect day, and the flags are not fluttering in the breeze. It is still and calm.
And I'm hoping that we are too deep into the day for that to be a jinx, my friend. Indeed, everything is quite nice out here. As you say, the sun's starting to get a little bit lower as it is November here in the Southwest. So the sun goes down in about 2 hours from now.
Yeah, but how about, we're looking at the grandstand on the big screen. Let's have a big wave from the grandstand at the outside of turn number 1. Well, someone was listening. Well done, thank you, TB Kart. There, we're getting ready. I think maybe now there is a margarita making machine in the TB Kart awning, and I'm wondering maybe if 1 or 2 margaritas have been consumed. I think they may have been. But we will head down to our Master of Ceremony, Rob Howden, for the Mini Swift podium.
Henry, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We are underway, as we said, with the podium here for the Mini Swift category. It was a wild one for sure, was it not? All the way to the very end. We had a couple of drivers pull away. We saw a chase group as well. All in all, it was just a fantastic battle for sure. Let's jump into the top 5 right now and get them up on the podium, give them a chance to be in the spotlight here at the SuperNationals. Driver coming home today in the 5th position. Great drive for the number 175 of Marco Samet. Marco Samet, finishing in the 5th position. We'll get him up here onto the podium. Congratulations, Marco. Worked his way up there. Finishing in the 4th spot, actually with the fast lap of the race, number 174, Maxwell Macha. Maxwell, of course, the winner of the Micro Swift category last year, on the podium again, keeping the streak alive here at the SuperNationals. Finishing in 3rd spot today, number 111. What a great drive to the very end. Comes home P3, Valentino Santien. Valentino. Yeah. We'll get in there to P3. Had a quick look down there. Where's that 3rd spot for me? Able to find it. Valentino will jump his way up onto the 3rd position. Again, battle at the end we saw was very good all the way through to the very finish. This driver was up front for a time, ends up coming home in 2nd. A great run for the Pro Tour champion. Finishing second here today, folks, Ashton Woon. Woon in second. He'll take that check and work his way up. There was so much great racecraft throughout this entire event for the drivers here in the Mini Swift category. We saw the strategy of a couple drivers working together, the chase group working together to get themselves back up into the fight, and of course the wild action at the very end of the race. The driver who actually ends up standing on the podium was really playing the wingman well, was right there in second, but in the end was able to get himself into the right position. He'll now call himself, ladies and gentlemen, a champion, a race winner of the SuperNationals. Put your hands together for Benja Fernandez. Benja going to get the suit up on there right now. Benja Fernandez, Ashton Woon, Santillan, Macha, and Marco Sam at the top 5. Benja's going to work his way up here now as a race winner here at the SuperNationals. Benja Fernandez, what a drive for him. And again, we'll get him up on top of the podium here. Tom and Alexis Kutcher there to hook him up with his trophy and his Evenko hat, the winner's hat with the big first on the side. Great to see these young drivers get an opportunity to race at this level in this spotlight. All right, guys, let's get those trophies up in the air. I'll tell you, the confetti canyon, surprising more than just me. So it's jolting for sure. But guys, congratulations, well done. Hey, how about a round of applause one more time for the drivers in the Mini Swift category. Benja Fernandez, your winner here of SuperNationals 27. Ashton Woon in second. Valentino Santillan in third. Maxwell Macha in fourth. And Marco Samet rounding out the top 5. They're immediately going to work. Helmets going to the side. The champagne's ready to fly. Dads are coming in to get the helmets as well. There you go, folks. Champagne flying. They're going after Fernandez in a big way down here. The celebration continuing for Mini Swift drivers. Guys, we'll send it back up to you. Benja Fernandez, now a race winner at the SuperNationals.
Oh, thank you very much, Rob. More smiling faces. I make that 6 great races out of 6. There's Maxwell Matcher at the side there. They're all trying to think, is it alcohol? Is it alcohol? No, it's not. But what it does do, it does make our eyes very, very sticky when someone sprays the bottle into our face. Oh, there's Benja Fernandez just having a little look at that trophy, having a look at the check, having a look at what he's achieved.